everyone. Today we're going over chapters 18 through 27 of Whole, so let's dive right into the summary. In these few chapters, we have Zero reading over Stanley's shoulder for the letter he's writing home, and basically it's revealed how Zero doesn't know how to read or write but wants to learn. And in addition to that, Magnet steals sunflower seeds, which happens to be in Stanley's hand when Mr. Sir comes back. So Stanley is in trouble and Stanley goes to the warden since he's reported by Mr. Sir. But something interesting happens where the warden basically puts on these rattlesnake venom nail polish and slaps him across the face, saying, "Why would you report such thing to me? This is not important to me right now." Okay, and so when Stanley comes back, it's discovered that Zero had dug his hole for him. And Zero explains that he did it because Stanley didn't steal the sunflower seeds or the shoes of Clyde Livingston. So it's a mystery how Zero is so sure about how Stanley did not steal the shoes of Clyde Livingston. And so they have a deal to help dig the hole and teach reading and writing in exchange for one another. And so the last two chapters shifts back to 110 years ago, where it explains how Sam the Onion Man had a donkey named Mary Lou and talks about how onions are very important for their health. And so Miss Catherine and Sam kisses causes a huge problem in the town. The town begins to attack the school and Miss Catherine, since it was illegal at the time for a black man to kiss a white woman. And so we have Miss Catherine running away from this town. Let's go ahead and move on to our vocabulary words, beginning with throbbing. If he jerked too quickly, he felt a throbbing pain just above his neck where Zigzag's shovel had hit him. So throbbing means that it is pounding with abnormal force, beating or vibrating in a rhythm. And this is usually the case when you're like in pain. So most commonly you'll have a throbbing headache, meaning that it feels like there's a little guy inside your head basically pounding against your head with a rhythm or some kind of beat. Okay. Number two is penetrating. Zero stared at him with penetrating eyes, and penetrating means piercing. So if you're staring with penetrating eyes, that means you're staring so intensely that it looks like you're basically about to pierce through the person, right? Another example of penetrating would be if it's super cold outside and you wore like, let's say, 8, 10 layers of different clothes and different jackets, and it's still cold, so the wind penetrates through your jackets and reaches you, that means you're probably still cold and shivering. All right, number three, unearthed. As he tried to cover them up, he unearthed a corner of the sack. And unearthed means to uncover or dig up. So I like to think of it as like Earth is like a world, it's a planet, and to unearth it means to like uncover or open up or like uncover something, unearth something. That's how I like to memorize it. Let's say you kept a necklace inside your pocket of your pants and you had your laundry basket and you didn't put it in the laundry yet. So now you start panicking and you dig and go through and unearth your necklace again from that pants that you wore a few days ago. Okay. Number four is writhe. His body writhed in agony, and writhe means to twitch as if you were in pain. Okay, so this happens maybe if you ran like 8, 9 miles, you're preparing for like maybe a marathon, a long time. Some people will writhe in agony, especially if they ran so much that they have like cramps or some kind of pain that causes them to twitch in some kind of way. Number five is condemned. Stanley wondered if this was how a condemned man felt on his way to the electric chair. And condemned means to be sentenced to die. And basically, if you are in court and there's not too much of a death sentence anymore these days, but it is possible that you may be condemned, meaning that you are it is decided that you should or are deserving to die because of the crime you did. Number six is desolate. Walking across the desolate wasteland, Stanley thought about his great grandfather. And desolate means deserted. So when it's very bare, another synonym for that would be bare. So a desolate wasteland is very bare, very plain, commonly used for like geographic terms. Number seven is astonishment. He suddenly realized where he'd seen the gold tube before. he felt a jolt of astonishment. And astonishment means amazement or like shocked. Okay. When you're really happy, but you're shocked about something. Maybe you really wanted something for your birthday, and you never thought your parents would get it for you because it's super expensive, and it happens to be right there on your birthday. Like you might be like frozen in astonishment. You might be crying in astonishment, right? Okay, number 8, fabulous. A special prize was given every year to Miss Catherine Barlow for her fabulous spiced peaches. So this one is a little bit more simple. Some synonyms are wonderful, marvelous, amazing. So another word can be used fabulous. Number 9, grotesque. No one ever dared to look at his grotesque face. And grotesque means differing greatly from the normal, or in very simple terms, ugly. So if you're not really like normal, something that would be very different from being normal is something that's ugly, right? So grotesque face is a little mean, but it's calling the person ugly. Number 10, you seem distracted. So, distracted means you're mentally confused or troubled. Maybe you're trying to do your homework, but your sister is bothering you, your brother is bothering you, telling you like they want to play a game, or maybe your parents say like it's time for dinner. So, you're already being distracted from what you're trying to do. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into the multiple choice questions. Number 1, why doesn't Stanley see what damage Zigzag Shovel has done? A, the blow has damaged his eyesight. B, the warden won't let him check the damage. Or C, there are no mirrors at camp. Answer is C. There are no mirrors at camp. So the blow has not damaged his eyesight. It did say that there was blood in the backside of his head and his neck area, but not so much his eye. The warden is not as involved. She doesn't really know that this happened. She doesn't really care. But yes, there is no mirrors at camp. Number 2, why do you think Squid won't tell Stanley the real reason he cried? A, he's embarrassed. B, he thinks Stanley will tell the warden. C, he dislikes Stanley. And the answer is A, he's embarrassed. So these boys are still at that age where it's really important to look cool, to look strong. And so Squid doesn't want to really show or let people know that he was well, the reason why he was crying. And he didn't want to act like he was crying as well. Number 3, who stole the bag of sunflower seeds? A magnet, B Stanley, or C Armpit. And as I said earlier in my summary, it was A magnet, and then it was passed around all the way to Stanley, who it was eventually he was caught. Number 4, why does Warden strike Mr. Sir in the face? A, she has always hated him, and this is her revenge. B, she asks him to do a favor for her, and he refuses. C, she doesn't think the stolen sunflower seeds are important. Again, if you paid attention during the summary portion, the answer is C, because she's basically saying, like, why did you bring this and report this to me? This is not even important. I have a real purpose, and you're not understanding what it is. Do you think I care that someone stole your sunflower seeds? And so that's why the warden hits Mr. Sir. Number 5, who knows what God's thumb means? A, the nurse the great grandfather married. B, no one. Or C, the great grandfather and later Stanley's grandfather. And the answer is B, no one. In the story, it mentioned that no one really actually knew what God's thumb meant. All right, number 6. Which students did Kate Barlow teach in her one-room schoolhouse? A, the children of Green Lake. B, the children and adults of Green Lake. C, only Trout Walker. And the answer is B, the children and adults of Green Lake. So at the time, Trout Walker is one of her students. And she did teach children, but it was children and adults of Green Lake. Number 7, why does Mr. Sir let Stanley's water run onto the ground rather than into his canteen? A, he's angry because he blames Stanley for getting him in trouble with the warden. B, he likes to tease the boys at the camp and it is Stanley's turn. C, he hopes that Stanley will get sick without water and perhaps even die. And the answer is A. So earlier, as we mentioned, Mr. Sir gets in trouble, gets struck by the warden with the rattlesnake venom because Mr. Sir reports Stanley, but instead, Mr. Sir gets in trouble from the warden. Number 8. In the past, when people in Green Lake were sick, who did they turn to for help? A. Dr. Hawthorne and Sam the Onion Man. B. Dr. Hawthorne and Catherine Barlow. Or C. Dr. Hawthorne and Mary Lou. The answer is A. Dr. Hawthorne and Sam the Onion Man. Remember, he had the onions, which were very important and helpful to curing and making sure people were healthy. Catherine Barlow was a teacher, and Mary Lou is the donkey. So they would turn to Dr. Hawthorne and Sam. Number 9. Who did Catherine Barlow refuse to kiss? A. Dr. Hawthorne, B. Sam the Onion Man, or C. Trout Walker? The answer is C. Trout Walker. Sam the Onion Man is the person that Catherine Barlow does kiss. Trout Walker is a super rich guy who always wanted to be with Catherine Barlow, and Catherine Barlow refused to be with him or give him affection. Number 10. What is the first thing Zero writes after learning the alphabet? A. A letter to his family. B. His real name. Or C. His nickname. And the answer is C. His nickname, which is Zero. B. His real name, Hector, is not what he writes. And also, he's not advanced enough to write a letter to his family just yet. Let's go ahead and move on to the short response questions. Number 1, why does Stanley at first refuse when Zero asks him to teach him to read? So before they had this deal, Stanley says, no, I will not teach you. And it's plainly because Stanley doesn't know how to teach. I think knowing how to do something and being able to teach are two different things, and Stanley doesn't know how to teach anyone because he hasn't done that before. Number 2, what is it about the boys that makes Stanley keep his mouth shut? Well, not only are the boys very, very violent and could be very dangerous, but also we want to understand that Stanley still wants to be cordial with these boys, still wants to have this harmony and peace while he stays at Camp Green Lake. So Stanley basically sucks it up and says, okay, I am the one who stole the sunflower seeds. Number 3, why is Stanley surprised to find holes close to the warden's cabin? To Stanley, he didn't think that the warden would like that people are nearby her cabin, and even more so, digging holes so close to where she lives. Number 4, how does Stanley guess that it is Zero who has been digging his hole while he was at the warden? So when he returns, the first thing he notices is that his hole is all finished or almost finished, and notices that Zero's hole is the smallest. So he immediately assumes that Zero is the one who dug it for him, which is correct. Number 5, why does Stanley finally decide to teach Zero to read? So because he originally wanted to save energy too, and that's why he didn't want to teach Zero. But because Zero has this deal that he will help dig his hole for Stanley, Stanley is more willing to now teach Zero how to read. Number 6, what did Kate Barlow do that angered Trout Walker? She basically said, I don't want to take a ride with you. Trout Walker is very, very rich, and he got a new boat, and he wanted to go out with Kate Barlow, and Kate Barlow refused. Not only refused to kiss, but also refused to go out on his new boat with him. Number 7, what did Sam claim was the reason why Mary Lou lived so long? So Sam was a huge believer that onions were the key for good health. And so Sam believed that because Mary Lou ate onions every day, it was able to keep Mary Lou so healthy for such a long time. Number 8, what did Sam say every time Kate Barlow complained about something? The phrase that he always said was, I can fix that, right? And so when Kate Barlow would have an issue or have a complaint, Sam would always be positive about things and say, I can fix that, I can help you. Number 9, why did the town mob turn against Miss Catherine? So Miss Catherine kissed a black man, which is very illegal, very frowned upon at the time. And so everyone is mad against Miss Catherine at this time. Number 10, how does Mr. Pendanski make up for Mr. Sir's dumping of Stanley's water? So again, Mr. Sir is very mad at Stanley, but Mr. Pendanski feels bad. So whenever he comes with the water truck, he would give Stanley a little bit more water. He would have Stanley drink some water and then pour a little more into his canteen. All right, these are the discussion questions I would like to leave you guys with to think about. Number one, why hasn't Zero learned to read? Number two, why doesn't Stanley tell Mr. Sir that Magnet stole the sunflower seeds? Number three, what kind of person is the warden? Does she care about anyone besides herself? And number four, in the story of Sam and Kate, why does Hattie Parker say, God will punish you when she sees Sam and Kate kissing? So that is the last part of chapters 18 through 27. I hope this is very helpful in guiding you to read this book whole and better understand this book. We are now at the halfway point. Feel free to please like and subscribe and to make sure that you are getting the next videos for the following three remaining sessions for this book as well. Thank you.